Becky.
And I'm Sarah, and welcome to Sounds Like a Bunch of
Hoopla! We're both from the Taylor Community Library, and we're here to recommend you some items to check out on Hoopla.
These are items that we've borrowed or plan on borrowing. This week we're talking about television and movies.
So starting with movies, what are you currently watching or have checked out?
So I just watched this, probably for the 100th time. So I'm really glad it's on Hoopla for me to be able to check out anytime I want to. It's a little movie called Muriel's Wedding.
Oh.
It's from 1994. I do understand that's a little older. That's fine. This is seriously one of my favorite movies. It's one of Toni Collette's first film roles. So this is early. She's won a lot of awards. She's won a lot of awards. I know this was pretty well acclaimed too when it came out in Australia too. It even won Toni the Best Actress Award at the AACTA, which I read is considered to be the Australian counterpoint of the Academy Awards in the US. So it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
And that was one of, I think it was her third film role, period. And she won Best Actress. I think that's amazing. Wow. So all you need to know about this drama comedy is it's about Muriel Heslop. Great name. She's kind of a slacker. She's pretty socially awkward. And she's going with the flow, you know? She's obsessed with weddings and with the Swedish band ABBA. Who isn't obsessed with ABBA? And while on holiday, she reconnects with old high school classmates, moves from her dead-end town of Porpoise Spit, which is a made-up town. What a great name, right?
Really great name.
So they move from Porpoise Spit and move to Sydney, to, the big city, and stuff happens. That's all I'm going to say. That's not all I'm going to say. Just watch the movie. It's just so good. Do not read the synopsis on Hoopla. It's terrible. It doesn't give it justice at all. It's just dumb. Don't read the synopsis on Hoopla.
Just watch it.
And know that you will hear a few ABBA songs. Not as much as if you were watching Mamma Mia or Mamma Mia 2. Just let Muriel be your dancing queen. I also just recently watched, it was actually a rewatch. This one I rewatched because I don't like being happy.
It's a sad movie.
You want to be emotionally destroyed? No?
No.
Well, if you change your mind, watch the movie called House of Sand and Fog.
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
It's actually based on a book. So this is actually based on a book written by Andre, I think it's Debus the Third. It was an Oprah pick back in the Oprah Book Club days.
Okay.
And we actually have the audiobook on Hoopla if you want to check it out. This movie and the book, it touches on themes of xenophobia, immigration, prejudice, suicide, police misconduct, and other governmental failures. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The movie is very bleak.
I'll say it doesn't sound like a good time.
Very bleak. But it's also a must-see. Without ruining anything, it follows an Iranian general or colonel. He has to leave Iran. So him and his family immigrate to America. And, he goes from being a colonel to working a bunch of odd jobs. So he's trying to get that level back for his family to secure for them. And he ends up buying a house at auction. But unfortunately for him, the house he bought at auction was actually wrongly taken from this lady named, I believe, Connie. She is a recovering addict, and she's just not a good person. And then she gets in with a police officer and manipulates him into leaving his family and doing a bunch of stuff you shouldn't do if you're an officer of the law.
Oh, God.
And just nothing good happens.
It doesn't sound like it at all.
I will say that. Nothing good happens. But it's a great movie.
All right. We'll have to take your word for it. Everything that I've watched lately, we've already talked about in previous Sounds Like a Bunch of Hooplas. I considered re-talking about them, but I won't. You can watch the previous episodes. And the one that I did just watch last night is actually going to be talked about at the end of the show for the Save Your Checkouts on. So we're going to jump right down to what I would like to check out soon. The very first one is a movie called Was I Really Kidnapped? If you watch Letterkenny on Hulu, you will recognize the main actress. She plays the sister on that show. So it is what initially caught my eye for this movie. But it's basically about this woman who was kidnapped. She somehow gets away and goes to the police, but they don't believe her that she was actually kidnapped. So she has to investigate her abduction on her own. And so that's all I know about it. I'm not really sure. Like, I've heard nothing about it. I just saw it on Hoopla. And I'm not sure if it's going to be like a psychological thriller where it's like, was she really kidnapped? Like the title suggests, or is it just going to be like this really cool vigilante justice kind of situation? But either way, I am very, very intrigued about that. The other one I would like to check out is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I would like to check out this movie. From the title alone, that's what it's about. It's about killer clowns from outer space. Apparently they are blood-drinking clowns. So it sounds horrifying, but it looks like it'll be a good time instead of a terrifying time. Then I want to check out a movie that I've again, never heard of, but the cover really intrigued me. It's called I Am Dragon. It looks like it's an adult fantasy film. It's about a princess that gets kidnapped by a dragon and taken to this remote island. And all that's there is the stone cage that she's kept in, and then this mysterious young man. So is like he the dragon?
I think that was my first thought. He's the dragon.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I'm very, very intrigued about it. It looked really, really cool, and I've just been in like a big fantasy mood. So it's definitely something I'll be checking out very soon. And then the last thing that is on my want to check out list is How to Talk to Girls at Parties. So this is originally a short story by Neil Gaiman. It was then turned into a graphic novel, which we do have at the library, and then turned into a movie. This is a movie that takes place in the 1970s. It follows a shy teenage boy who basically thinks girls are aliens until he finally meets one in person. And so they like get to know each other as well as like compete to see at what length they will go to find love. It does have a really good cast. It stars Nicole Kidman and Elle Fanning. So it's definitely a movie that I'm interested in checking out. I also want to check out the graphic novel. I think the short story is like 11 pages. So it's a short story.
Really short.
Yes.
But Neil Gaiman can write, he could give you a crumpled up piece of paper with a story on it and you'd think it was the best thing ever. He's good. It
was so good that they turned into a graphic novel and a movie.
A full-length movie.
Pages. A movie. What are you wanting to check out soon?
Well, I do want to comment, yours sound pretty great. The only one that I've seen is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I'm pretty sure I wanted you to watch that when we were picking our bad Halloween movie to watch. It was that one, and then you went with the one that traumatized me for life, but now I can laugh at it. Critters, if no one knows.
It was so good. I gotta watch the rest of it.
Weirdly enough, my two on my to-watch list are also about kidnapping.
Ooh, you know what?
We did not plan this.
What I've recently learned is that there's a thing called dark beach reads. I never knew this was a thing. Apparently some people, instead of reading like the stereotypical like summer romance books, they instead read summer thrillers. So it's like, you know, creepy beach houses and stuff like that. I didn't know. I would love to be a part of this genre.
Yeah.
So apparently that's a thing I found out a couple weeks ago, and I've noticed on Hoopla that there's a lot of like kidnapping, murder, crime being uploaded. So
those are my favorite types of movies.
Same.
I love horror. I love thriller. I love anything that'll make me like,
yeah.
So the first movie up on my to watch list is one that I stumbled across with just the cover. It's called Bad Samaritan. So I'm obsessed with thrillers and horror movies. Love that kind of stuff. This one caught my eye because David Tennant is like menacingly holding a shovel on the cover.
Okay, I think I've heard of this one.
Yeah. David Tennant is an international treasure. He has played such roles as Casanova, Barty Crouch Jr. in the fourth Harry Potter book or movie. He played frickin' Crowley in the incredible adaptation of Good Omens, which was written by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. And then, Becky, I'm not sure if you know this, but he also played the titular character for 3 seasons on this little British show, Doctor Who. He was the 10th Doctor. And in this movie, he is playing the villain. You were going to see your beloved 10th Doctor, the silly Scottish one, as a villain. So obviously I have to watch it. Immediately went on my favorites list. The synopsis says that a valet, who I think is played by Robert Sheehan, he's in The Misfits, and he played Klaus in The Umbrella Academy. So the valet has a scam going where he burglarizes homes of the customers that he valets for because he knows they're not home. So he'll like get in their car to valet it and then types in the GPS,
yes,
home, and it takes him to the house. So apparently in one home, creeper tenant's home, he finds a woman being held captive.
Yes, I saw the trailer for this.
I haven't looked up anything else about it. I haven't watched the trailer because trailers can ruin stuff for me a lot. And I don't want anything to be ruined for me right now. So I didn't look up anything else about it, and I'm gonna go in like a surprise. It's gonna be really fun. The next one on my to watch list is called Room. This is also R-rated. It came out in 2015, 2016. This one I've been putting off watching, and I don't know why, because I read the book a few years ago when they announced that they were coming out with a movie. I try to do that for any movie that comes from a book. I try to read the book first. But basically, it follows a 5-year-old boy who has only ever known the one room that he lives in. Turns out he was living with his mother, who was kidnapped like 7 years ago and held captive in this room. And then she raised him in that room. They finally escape, allowing the boy to experience life outside said room. The book, I know, was told from the boy's point of view. So it was very engaging because it followed his imagination and his struggles to adjust to the outside world, regular situations that he would be in with other people that he just did not know how to navigate at all. So I'm guessing the movie achieved the same type of nuance because it did win some awards. I know Brie Larson actually won Best Actress. She plays the mother in this. She also plays Captain Marvel. She's a great actress too. I picked a lot of movies with a lot of good casts. A lot of great people. Do you want to talk about movies we should avoid?
Yes.
Help people avoid. Let me talk about mine first, because I'm really excited to hear yours. Mine's just a little blip.
Okay.
So I was not impressed, but other people might be. I'm not sure.
Okay.
This movie is called The Bling Ring. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it. And I think I heard that the book was better than the movie.
It was. So this one is based on real events that actually happened. Mm-hmm. A bunch of fame-obsessed teenagers in LA would track celebrities online and then break into their houses when they're out of town. Sounds great. Well, not for the celebrities, but it sounds like a great story.
Yeah.
But the movie just fell flat for me.
Yeah.
Which was surprising because it had Emma Watson. She played Hermione Granger. She played like the ringleader, the Bling Ring leader. But yeah, it just didn't. I don't like it. What's the one on your list?
So the one on my list is one that I just watched last night. I was actually pretty excited about this film because, well, let me give you a little bit about what it's about before I tell you what it's called. From the description as well as the cover, it looks like it's another Paranormal Activity. So I was very excited. I didn't know if it was going to go the Paranormal Activity route where like it's fake, but it's found footage? Or is it going to go down like Demon House by Zach Baggins from Ghost Adventures, where it's like real footage, or so we hope, of a real place?
Real.
So it's called 8213 Gacy House. So this is a film about, supposedly, it turns out it is more the Paranormal Activity route. So it's a film about Gacy, very famous serial killer who murdered boys and young men.
And dressed like a clown.
Yes. In this film, when they found I think it was like over 30 some bodies is what they recovered, but they think like he killed way more than that.
I have a murderer book right over. I can go grab it and check.
Read us the excerpt.
You want? I'll grab it. I'll grab it right now. I'm grabbing it.
All right, tell us.
So John Wayne Gacy is one of the 20th century's best-known monsters, a nightmare of a man whose mere surname is on par with Hitler's when it comes to its association with evil. From 72 until 79, Gacy killed at least 33 young men and boys, either burying them in the crawl space beneath his North Side Chicago home, which you watched a movie about,
yep,
or dumping them in the Des Plaines River. Yikes.
Yeah. So, supposedly what happens is when they were recovering all the bodies of these boys and young men, the house was basically demolished. So then a new house was built in the same spot where that house was. It's many years later now, and this college class, it's led by a professor at their college who is there to investigate if paranormal activity exists and if there's paranormal activity in this home. Like Paranormal Activity, we have like a little title shot at the beginning that's like, on this date, these people went in this house. 2 years later, 6 bodies were found along with this footage. Thanks to the police, we have recovered this footage. Here it is. Which, if that ever happened, the police are not going to give that footage away to be a movie, okay? We already know from the get this is fake. But what's really bad is that this movie, in a word, is a disaster of a film. There is the only time that I was scared and jumped was when somebody, because the entire thing is like video camera footage, somebody's like trying to hook up one of the other cameras, and he like looks down, and one of the other people there with him is like standing right there, and was like, oh, did I scare you? Like, that was the only scary part. The rest is just ridiculous. I was literally laughing at points. It's just so bad. I feel like the other things didn't make it as bad. What was terrible is that they have this psychic. She decides to do like these seances and stuff, but the things that she's doing is like, if this was real life, it's super dangerous. Super dangerous. I'm sorry. You don't want to mess with ghosts. And the things that she was doing was like insane. She did a seance circle and didn't close it. People were leaving it when they like got freaked out. You can't do that. You can't do that.
Do that.
She was like, take this as a token of a gift, Gacy, for you to come to us. And it was supposedly the t-shirt from her 15-year-old neighbor. You don't know what could happen to him. Yes. I was so angry with like the blatant disrespect that she was doing. Like, whether you believe it's real or not, I don't think that you should mess with things that you don't understand in a way that could possibly have really, really bad consequences. And the fact that now all of them are dead. No shock there. But you can guess that there is really bad acting, absolute ridiculous stuff that's supposed to scare you, and some nudity. Well, there's a really large chunk of nudity for no good reason. All right, TV shows. What are you watching?
You're going to be super happy about what I'm watching, because I'm pretty sure that you are the one that told me to watch it.
Okay.
I'm Sorry.
Hooray!
Hooray! With Andrea Savage. So this show is flippin' hilarious. It follows a female comedy writer and how she uses humor to navigate life and all crazy situations with her husband and young daughter. It's pretty raunchy.
It is.
So keep that in mind. And some good comedians make like small appearances too. Like her writing partner, Jason Mantzoukas. I love him. He's hilarious. I love him in everything that he does.
Yeah, if I see he's in it, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll watch it.
Oh, yeah. Like, I know this will be good. Even if it's bad, it's going to be good. At least his parts will be good. So Hoopla has just the first season. I think they finished the second season late last year, so maybe Hoopla will get that soon too. But definitely check out the first season. It's hilarious. What have you checked out recently that you're liking?
I have been wanting to start the show for a very long time, and so I used this as an opportunity to finally check out the show, and I was very, very happy with it. I've only watched the first episode so far, but I have plans on binging the rest of the season, I'm sure. It is The Alienist. This is, I believe, on TNT, if I'm not mistaken, but Hoopla does have the first season at least. I didn't double check to see if they had any more seasons, but I know they have the first full season. It stars Daniel Bruhl, who you may recognize from Inglourious Basterds, Captain America Civil War, Dakota Fanning. Do I need to tell you what she's been in? War of the Worlds, Man on Fire, Twilight, and Luke Evans, who I personally love Luke Evans. Most recently, you would recognize him as Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. So this is a turn-of-the-century murder mystery that takes place in New York City. It follows an alienist played by Daniel Bruhl, who is brilliant yet obsessive in the controversial new field of treating mental pathologies. There is a killer on the loose in New York who's murdering young boys and mutilating their bodies. And he recruits Luke and Dakota's characters to help him solve the murders. So it's definitely very dark and gruesome, but it's really, really good. If you're into like crime, especially like the Gilded Age era as well, this is perfect for you. It is based on a book of the same name by Caleb Carr, but if you've ever heard of the Scotland Yard Murder Squad series by Alex Grecian, this show is very, very similar to that. So if you like that, you'll definitely love this show. So now what's on your want to watch?
So I've got a couple on there. I didn't want to make this too long. I saw that they have one season of Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Is it the old one or the new one?
It's the old one, the original. It's the original. Yeah, cool. So back in the 90s, the Midnight Society, this group of kids, would sit around their campfire every week, and, you know, they had this, like, sand that would make the fire go up in beautiful colors, and they'd say the name of their spooky story they're about to say, like, this is the story of the Worm Man. And then they would, you know, it would divulge into a story about a worm man or whatever. It was super creepy to me at the time as a child, and all their stories, they're super short stories, and they center around like ghosts or monsters or magic or anything paranormal. Mm-hmm. One of the spookiest one I remember, which is funny because I'm in charge of buying comic books and graphic novels for the library, is a jester character who he lived in a comic book, but he would escape, and he would like make people go crazy and spit out like blue goo. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Terrifying. I loved it. So unfortunately, Hoopla only has one season of it, and it's the third season.
Is it like the best season?
I guess. So yeah, I loved the show as a kid. I'm sure that it'll be a little cheesy, but I'm going to love the nostalgia. And it'll probably bring back old, like, legitimate old memories. I will transform, like, back or transport back into my little body. It's just like, it's going to be great. Another thing that's on my to-watch list that might not sound like something I would watch for people following these videos. It's a BBC show set in the 50s. It's called Call the Midwife. Have you heard of it?
Yes.
It's pretty popular. So it's set in the 50s and follows a group of midwives that are working in post-war London. Sounds pretty great. I really like historical shows, and I've heard some pretty great things about this series. Plus, BBC hasn't failed me yet in great shows. So you know what? Keep it up, UK. Doing great. Doing great. Plus, there's 7 seasons on Hoopla called The Midwife, so that'll keep me busy for quite a while. Yeah. Especially if it's real good. That's all I got on the TV front. I haven't been checking out a lot of TV shows on Hoopla. I've been saving them for movies and comic books.
Well, I definitely watch more TV than I watch movies, so buckle up. Like you were saying, the Are You Afraid of the Dark is from Nickelodeon, and if you go on the TV section of Hoopla and go in the genres, they actually have genres as networks. So they have one for Nickelodeon, one for Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, and they have like really, really good shows on there. They've got Avatar: The Last Airbender. You know, if you don't have Netflix, which is where Avatar is now, it is on Hoopla, so you can definitely start watching or rewatching the show there. SpongeBob, iCarly, Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Lab, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Rick and Morty, Robot Chicken, and one of my personal favorites, Space Ghost Coast to Coast. Those are all available on Hoopla. So if you are looking to either watch kids shows because you are of that age, or if you just want to reminisce of some of your favorite shows, they have a lot of good options there. As well as they do have the Magic School Bus on Hoopla. But one thing that I did see on there that was really cool, and I was like, wow, I remember seeing infomercials all the time because I was a late night kid, and it was very expensive, and that was Muzzy, the way for children to learn languages.
Alex Trebek would narrate the commercials.
Yeah.
I remember. Jeopardy Man.
Alex Trebek would walk out, start telling you how you got to spend all your money on Muzzy so that your kids can be learned doctors someday. And apparently it's on Hoopla. So if you are thinking
I'll watch them.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine for adults to watch too. Why not? I don't see why. Definitely check that out. I know the one that I saw, I'm pretty sure I saw a category for it though, but the one specifically I saw was for Spanish. So sounds like a good time. However, there are 2 shows that I want to talk in depth about that I have watched and I highly recommend. The first one, it is a paranormal show called Psychic Kids. If you are into shows like Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters, or Paranormal State, so that is a oldie but a goodie, you will also enjoy this show too. If you've watched Paranormal State, or I'm pretty sure that he also was on a couple of Ghost Adventure shows or episodes, it stars Chip Coffey. He's a very, very famous psychic medium. He runs this, like, I think it's like a week-long like camp where these kids who are psychic come to, I guess, like learn more about their gifts and to expand on them. So it's a reality show. It's not fake. It's these real life creepy kids who could do some real life creepy stuff, and it is really good. The other show I want to talk about is perfect for fans of dance moms. It is a show called Bring It, and instead of like ballet jazz, this is a hip hop majorette competition show. So again, another reality show. There is a whole genre of reality shows on Hoopla. Definitely check it out. There's a lot of good stuff on there. I'm a big fan of reality TV. But Bring It is so good. If you like dance moms and you think that dance instructor's crazy or those moms are crazy, wait till you watch Bring It. It is very intense. It takes place in, I'm pretty sure, Atlanta, Georgia, if I'm not mistaken, and it's a really, really good show.
You've heard about what's on my to-watch list. What about yours, Becky?
Yes. So my want to watch, first up, like you mentioned, that great network called the BBC. They have a show called The Coroner on Hoopla. That sounds really good. It's about a female lawyer who's returning to her small hometown after a messy divorce. And she decides to take the position of the town coroner. I don't know a lot about like law and coroners besides what I see on TV, but it doesn't sound like those are things that you can just like do.
I wish it was in medical law.
I don't know how you're qualified to be a coroner. If you're a lawyer, maybe it's like small town stuff, you know? They got different rules.
To be a doctor and to be a coroner.
That's what I thought. I don't know.
you
Maybe she's a medical lawyer.
Yeah, she's a doctor lawyer.
We'll find out when I watch it. But she somehow takes the position of the coroner and finds out that her old flame who broke her heart is the local policeman, and now they have to work together. Sounds like it's going to be crimeful and hijinkful. So I'm very excited. The other show I'm really excited about is called The Fall. This isn't on the BBC, but it does take place in Britain, and it's detectives who are trying to solve a high-profile murder. It turns out it's a serial killer. If that already doesn't hook you, the cast is a really good cast. Our detective who is on the hunt for the serial killer is Gillian Anderson, you know, the lead from X-Files.
Yeah.
And our bad guy, our serial killer, is Jamie Dornan, you know, the 50 Shades of Grey guy. Yeah, he's just out there murdering people. Multiple serial killings.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I was like, hey, those people look really familiar. And I clicked it. I was like, this sounds really good. And then it says, like, Gillian Anderson from X-Files. I was like, oh.
Does she have blonde hair in that instead of red?
Yes.
Okay, I think I saw like a trailer for this when it first came out.
It looks really, really good. So I'm definitely going to be checking that out. And then while I was in that wonderful genre on Hoopla called reality TV, I saw, you know, just gems like Duck Dynasty. But when I kept scrolling, I found a show that I've never heard of before. I don't know how this didn't get on my radar, but I'm real excited to check it out, and I bet you will be too. This is a show, a reality show called Going Cyril, like viral, but with Cy from Duck Dynasty.
What?
He explores the internet and what the heck that's all about.
Yes, and he's got his teacup with him, doesn't he?
He sure does.
I love Cy.
The cover for it, as you guys will see here, is like psychedelic, and it sounds ridiculous. All the premise says is that he's gonna explore the internet and find out what the heck it's all about.
I'm gonna watch that.
So I don't know how this never came across our radar.
I follow like the entire Robertson family. There's a lot of them on Instagram, and just like a week ago, Willie cut his hair for the first time in like 16 years, and it was just a series of videos of him playing pranks on his family because they didn't recognize him. He just like would walk by him on the street, like they called Sadie down, and he just walks by, and she just walks right by him, and then she stops and double takes, and he turns around, he's like, you didn't even recognize my own dad.
I love them.
I do too.
We hope we've given you some new shows and movies to check out on Hoopla. If you end up checking out any of the things that we recommended, be sure to come right back here and let us know in the comments.
See you next time on Sounds Like a Bunch of
Hoopla!